So a few months back, I was watching YouTube and I came across a video titled The Complete Mario Timeline So Far by a channel called The Leaderboard. And I think all of you should go watch that video because it's pretty interesting how they decided to string all the games together. Anyway, while I was watching the video, I thought, I could do that. I could play all the Mario games. And then over the next few months, I did. And I decided to review all of them. Now, I do have a few disclaimers before I get started. One, to keep this video from being insanely long, I won't review any of the Mario educational, sports, or arcade games unless there was something that made them stick out to me. 2, I'm going to be going over these in the order shown on the leaderboards video, so I recommend you go watch that video too. 3, this is my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours. Just don't get mad at me for having an opinion, because, that's just really stupid. Anyways, let's just jump right into it. Starting off, I played Yoshi's Island, and in my opinion, this is the second best title on the SNES. This game excels in great level design, and it has some great gameplay mechanics. One of the things that got me really hooked on it is the fact that there's no timer on any of the levels. This game can also be really simple if you just want to rush straight through it, but there's also so much more that you can do to challenge yourself if you want to. Also, the best part is that this game is on Nintendo's online service for the Switch, so you could play it right now if you wanted to. But that's all I really have to say about this one, so moving on. Next I played Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. Now, this game has excellent characters, excellent story, excellent writing, and I definitely recommend you play this game. But I still do have a few complaints about it. 1, defending yourself in combat is a real pain. This game has a complex combat system that is easier to do than it is to explain, so I won't really get into it in this video. But I very much prefer Mario RPG and Paper Mario's defense system that only requires you to push a button with proper timing over this complex mess. 2, it feels like you have to kill a lot of enemies to be at the level the game wants you to, and killing the same enemy 10 or 11 times in a row just kinda gets boring. 3, this one's a little bit of a spoiler, so I guess skip to here if you don't want that. Okay, so the final boss of this game is in 3 stages, and at most I was expecting 2. So the first time I go through the fight, I use all of my items on the first stage and then die on the second. Then I go through and meter out my items, but then I die on the third stage. So I just wish there was some way of knowing that there was going to be 3 stages, then that would probably completely eliminate my problem. Anyway, this game might not be for everyone, but I still recommend you try it out. After that I played Wrecking Crew, and this is a really good puzzle game. It's not the greatest to just sit down and play, but it is a great time killer, and I've come back to this one multiple times just for that reason. Continuing on is Super Mario Bros. This game is a classic, and it's definitely worth playing all the way through if you never have. But it's not really a game that I'd want to replay, so this one's kind of just a one and done for me. The sequel to Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, is essentially a big fuck you from Nintendo, and is much harder to complete than Super Mario Bros. So this game is only really fun if you like challenging games that try to screw you over the whole time. Super Mario 64 is up next, and this is a really great game with lots of things to do, and I would honestly love it if Nintendo were to remaster this. Even if the only thing they changed was the camera controls, I would still love it more than the original, because the camera controls for this game suck. It's understandable why they suck though. Due to the lack of a second thumbstick on the N64, you have to use the C buttons to control the camera. Other than the poor camera controls, I have no problems with this game whatsoever. After that is Super Mario World, and the only thing that really sticks out to me about this game is its art style. The way this game looks is so amazing, and every area in the game looks really cool because of it. But other than that, it's another pretty standard Mario game. Super Mario RPG is the next game I played, and in my opinion, this is the best SNES title you can get. Everything about this game, from the combat to the characters and the story, to even the layout of the menus, it feels so good and really well thought out. And the only thing I can really complain about is the fact that about 3 times throughout the game they force you to play minigames to progress, and I don't really like that. But despite that, I really love this game, and I wish Nintendo would make another game as great as this. After that is Super Mario Bros. 2, and this game is very interesting as it's just a copy of another game called Doki Doki Panic, and I think it's probably one of the worst Mario platformers as it breaks some of the rules the platformers set before it in the series, but it's still fairly decent. Super Mario Bros. 3 is next, and this is a pretty decent game, but I really wish they could have changed the cutscene that plays after every boss battle, because it gets kinda dull after you read, "Oh thank heavens, I'm back to my old self again," for the 5th or 6th time in a row. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say about this game. Up next is Super Mario Sunshine, and I have very mixed opinions on this game, because I really like the design and music for the game, and I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but it is a difficult game to beat. Even though it is difficult, it still feels very rewarding when you finally get that shine at the end of a difficult level. And I think if you play this game without the primary intention of beating it, you'll enjoy it a lot more than I did. After that is New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, and I have to say, this is probably the best handheld Mario experience you can get. This game has so much to do and so many levels to play. It can be almost as short or as long as you want it to be, and there are these star coins in every level that add an extra challenge to them. If you're able to get this game, you should honestly get it, because it's one of my favorite platformers in the whole series. Moving on is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And I really didn't like this game, because after the first half of the game, it gets to a difficulty level that I didn't enjoy playing at. Luckily, there's a button that you can push to make the fight you're on easier, and this was a lifesaver at some points in the game. I do feel like I probably played this game in the wrong way though. I would sit down for a few hours and play this game and get really frustrated over and over again. And I feel like this game would be more fun if you played it in small bursts, maybe only doing 1 or 2 fights a session. Other than that, I really wish this game would let you explore more or had more puzzles, because it feels like all you do is do fights back to back with very little breaks in between. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say about this game. Yoshi's Cookie is up next, and I don't really know why I wanted to put this one on my review list, but there's just something about it that makes this game so much fun. It's mostly a time killer game, but the puzzles are always fun and interesting to solve when you're looking for something to fill time. So up next is New Super Mario Bros. 2, and I don't really like this game. It kind of feels like the sequel nobody asked for. This whole game feels really easy with so many coins scattered everywhere, and it's just not as fun as its predecessor. Up next is New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and this is a really good multiplayer game. I say multiplayer game because you honestly miss out on more than half the experience without it. And this game feels like a proper Mario game, unlike New Super Mario Bros. 2. Next is Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. And this is a spectacular game with so much to do. I've come back to this game multiple times just to try and get some extra stuff done. The only real flaw this game has, in my opinion, is the fact that you have to find a place to save when you want to quit. I wish they could have implemented like a save button so you wouldn't have to search for a save block when you want to stop playing. Mario & Luigi Dream Team, the next game up, did solve this problem, but it introduced a whole plethora of other problems that completely ruined the game, such as forcing story by making you do unnecessary amounts of work to progress in the story in the slightest amount, or that they force you to play boring minigames, or that you'll be fighting the same enemy over and over again for large parts of the story. Also, after a while, I got so upset with this game, I decided to try and finish it as fast as I could, and my playtime still ended up being over 40 hours. So overall, this game just sucks, and I don't recommend anyone play this game. Mario & Luigi Paper Jam came after that, and by this point I was extremely tired of the Mario & Luigi series as a whole, but despite that, I still somewhat enjoyed this game. It's not a Paper Mario game by any means, but it was alright. Next is Super Mario Galaxy, and this game is really amazing. There's honestly hours of fun to be had in this game. Anyone from a complete beginner at Mario games to an expert could probably enjoy this game. And just like in Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64, there are tons of power stars to collect. The boss fights are all super original and creative, and there's a bunch of secrets to unlock, so overall this game is fantastic and I definitely recommend it. Super Mario Galaxy 2 is after that, and I feel like this game is the sequel everyone wanted, but it ended up not being great. A lot of this game feels like an expansion for Super Mario Galaxy 1, with new levels being very similar to the originals and a few small changes thrown in. Some of the boss fights are straight rips from Super Mario Galaxy 1 with almost nothing changed, and some of the boss fights that aren't ripped from the first game are extremely similar to bosses from the first game. I also didn't like the world map, as in most Mario games with a world map, you have to go through a level once to beat it, but in Mario Galaxy you have to go through a galaxy multiple times to beat it, so it just kind of feels out of place in this type of game. Also, the Bowser boss fights aren't as good as the ones from the first game. There are a few things this game did right though, such as adding Yoshi. It feels really well implemented, and it makes for some really fun platforming challenges. Also, all of the new power-ups are really well done too, and add new and interesting ways to complete levels. That's all I have to say about this game, so coming up next is Super Mario 3D Land, and I think this is a really good style of game. I think we're not going to be getting many more 2D platformer games in the Mario series, but I think games like this would be a great way to replace them, because it's nothing crazy like Mario Odyssey or Mario Galaxy. It's just a simple Mario game with short, fun 3D levels. It just really sucks that one thing messed this game up completely for me, and that's star coins. This game forces you at certain points to go and collect star coins to progress in the game. Like in the World 5 Bowser Castle, it will not let you win until you have enough star coins. Now, I don't mind when Mario games restrict you from entering bonus or hidden levels until you have enough star coins, but when they restrict essential levels from you until you get enough bonus collectibles, that's just ridiculous. I got so pissed at that I almost didn't even finish the rest of these Mario games. So I absolutely don't recommend this Mario game, as that one thing completely ruins it. Anyway, moving on to Super Mario Odyssey, and this game is just great. It's amazing how simple it is, yet also how much creativity is shown throughout the game. I also enjoyed this game so much that I 100% completed it, and it's probably my favorite 3D Mario game in the series. This video is already super long, so I'll try and make these next two pretty quick. First is Super Mario Land, and this is a really amazing platformer with a lot of creativity shown throughout. Also, the music is my favorite out of all the platformers in the series, and I'd love to see a remaster of this game. Second is Super Mario Land 2, and this game is also fairly good. It still has a lot of creativity and thought put into it, but it's not as good as the first in my opinion. And that wraps it up. That is almost every Mario game. I enjoyed all of them, and I would love to hear your opinions on them in the comments. Also, there were a few games that I was going to play, but I was unable to for one reason or another. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching all the way through. It really means a lot. But anyway, that's about it. See ya.